Higher education seeks to enable all students to develop professionally, academically, and personally to become global citizens. Increasing diversity and strengthening of equality legislation have a deep impact on teaching and learning. So, to empower all students in ways that they can ultimately fulfill their academic potential calls for a re-examination of the management, design, and delivery of learning, teaching, and assessment. In a nutshell, it requires more inclusive curricula. In order to get there, we would like to introduce a framework that has proven to be very helpful. It describes the entire student lifecycle from access to final student success. Access in our framework deals with two main issues: who gets to participate in higher education and what support structures are available for admitted students. For example, how can universities attract new and non-traditional student groups, for example via outreach activities to various communities? What prior learning experiences are recognized by higher education institutions? Are foundation courses offered to bridge lags in knowledge? Ultimately, are there fair entry procedures, such as admission interviews, in place? Undoubtedly, student engagement is strongly related to student success. To adequately support students along their way, awareness of their diversity is required. A diversity-sensitive approach needs to be adopted, as can be seen in the inner circle of the framework, where demographic, cognitive, disciplinary, functional, and institutional diversity is foregrounded. For further explanations on the so-called head wheel, please click at the link provided. At the core, our framework covers 6 areas of activity, ranging from institutional management, as basic condition for any kind of teaching and learning activity, up to direct interaction between staff and students in curriculum delivery. In the following, each area of activity will be drawn on individually. First, we take a look at institutional management. Designing and running study programs is always embedded in an institutional context. One could look at diversity policies and guidelines or infrastructure to support equality and diversity in the curriculum. Conditions are inclusive when the institution really invests resources to enable all students to participate in academic life. The second area of activity is curriculum design, aimed at creating programs suitable for all students. This entails that every student has special needs, not only thinking about disabilities, but also about family care, financial needs, individual interests, or learning habits. Typical questions are there individual pathways available for those who have to work a lot or can't attend classes on a full-time basis for other reasons? How diverse is the curriculum content? Does it cover multiple perspectives and theoretical standpoints from multiple cultures and backgrounds? Does it incorporate themes of equality, diversity, and cultural relativity related to real-world scenarios? And does it build on students' educational interests, experiences, and aspirations? And finally, do learning outcomes discriminate against particular students or groups? This, for example, occurs when learning outcomes are phrased too technically, or targeted competence standards cover expectations relating to scientific methods that are not explicitly stated. All those not being familiar with scientific discourse and academic habitus would thus be disadvantaged. Let's turn to the third area of activity, inclusive teaching and learning. This area deals with methods by which curricula are taught, materials and activities used to support learning, and the classroom cultures shaped by students and staff interactions. For teaching staff, it is highly important to get to know the students. What are the prerequisites students come to the classroom with? What are their individual experiences, interests, and aspirations? Ideally, the materials, resources, and examples provided positively embrace the diversity of students' backgrounds. Learning is student-centered and interactive, engaging all students through a range of methods. Principles of universal design for learning are applied. The fourth area is about academic assessment and feedback. As we all know, since the valuable work of John Hattie, feedback is paramount for successful learning and improvement of teaching. Feedback should be thought of threefold: diagnostically as feed-in at the beginning of learning processes. How do students start into the learning journey? Supportive as feed-forward, to systematically give students guidance and direction for moving forward. This is also called formative assessment. And finally, the actual feedback, also known as summative assessment, to finally evaluate learning gains. Assessments are considered to be inclusive if students are able to demonstrate their capabilities in the best way possible. All in all, opportunities throughout the assessment cycle should be provided for students to enter into dialogue with staff in order to develop assessment literacy. The fifth area of activity in making curricula more inclusive is the design of learning environments. How to make them accessible and supportive to enhance student learning. In physical, just like in digital learning spaces, learning resources and technologies should be utilized effectively with additional and alternative resources when required. Timetabling arrangements should be flexible to allow students to participate fully. For example, thinking of providing accessible locations and transfer time between sessions or sites. And take account of students' commitments and responsibilities, for example, in family care. The final area is the one of staff engagement. How can all staff be enabled to develop relevant professional practice in which equality and diversity are embedded? Part of this is the staff take responsibility for students' academic development through curriculum delivery and extracurricular activities and support them along their journey, thus building effective working student-faculty relationships. Furthermore, staff are constantly encouraged to engage in reflective loops where they further their work to develop, lead, and support the embedding of equality and diversity in the curriculum through recruitment, induction, review, recognition, and progression activities. Summing it up, making curricula more inclusive is a holistic process, and the IDM framework may certainly qualify as a helpful frame of reference. This IDM framework was introduced to provide 6 relevant areas of activity with practical advice for each of them. Hence, it has the potential to act as a gate opener in curriculum design and delivery. As such, it offers many starting points for teaching staff, managers, or program leaders to pave the way for successful academic development of all students.